My wife, Victoria Bellwether, and I were on our way home to celebrate New Year's Eve when we had an accident. When I opened my eyes again, we were back before we even started dating. In my past life, we were married for 7 years. We treated each other with respect, almost like polite strangers, but she wouldn't even give me one child. Later, I found out that my wife could never get over her old flame. After being reborn, I decided to let her have him. We had an unspoken understanding, silently deleted each other's contacts, kept our distance, and chose different paths in life. 7 years later, she had become a sought-after advertising planner and, at a class reunion, officially announced her relationship with her old flame, Ethan Goldsmith. Seeing I was still single, she couldn't help but tease me. "Sincere Clark, I know that in both lives, I was the woman you loved most, the one you were proudest of, but you don't have to stay chaste for me, waiting all this time." I ignored her and took my daughter's hand. Victoria Bellwether's face instantly turned pale, her eyes bloodshot as she questioned me. "Didn't you say you'd love me for a lifetime and only want children with me?" Chapter 1. Victoria Bellwether and I met again at a class reunion, 7 years later. I had just finished several criminal profiling meetings and was too tired to bother changing, so I went straight into the banquet hall. Victoria Bellwether stood in the middle of the crowd, holding Ethan Goldsmith's hand, basking in everyone's admiration. A classmate said with a face full of envy, "Victoria, you're really something. You've only been in the industry a few years, and those advertising campaigns you planned have already won so many awards. You're truly the pride of our school." No kidding. Victoria is a renowned talent now. For a short 10-second video, advertisers are chasing her with design fees in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what ordinary folks like us make in a year. If our company needs planning in the future, we hope you'll give us an old classmate's discount, say 20 off. Just then, someone curiously asked, "Victoria, are you and Ethan Goldsmith hearing wedding bells soon?" Victoria looked tenderly at the tall Ethan Goldsmith standing beside her. "That's right, we're getting engaged next month. We came back this time to prepare for the wedding." A chorus of congratulations erupted around them. An old classmate asked, "Victoria, are you still in touch with Sincere Clark? I heard your romance was quite intense. At that year's university gala, you even wore a wedding dress and danced for him." Hearing my name, I noticed Victoria's smile instantly froze, her eyes slightly downcast. Ethan Goldsmith, standing beside her, smiled faintly and replied tactfully, "Look at you all. Victoria and I are about to get married. Childhood hobbies don't last, and neither do first loves." Victoria moved on from Sincere Clark long ago. Everyone laughed and continued to flatter them on how well matched they were. Only I remembered that the dance at that gala was one she had specially choreographed to confess her feelings to me. In our past life, we were campus sweethearts. Back then, her eyes were full of light, full of dreams. She once told me with utmost sincerity, "Sincere Clark, look into my eyes. I love you. My eyes don't lie." I believed her. Unfortunately, in that past life, she still lied. With a calm expression, I walked into the banquet hall. A sharp-eyed classmate spotted me. "Sincere Clark, why are you so late? It's a big reunion today. Why are you in casual clothes? You didn't even wear something decent. You didn't just get off work, did you? There are many big bosses here. Ask them to help you find a 9-to-5 job, something more relaxed." Seeing my attire, many classmates sneered and made sarcastic remarks. I smiled politely, maintaining a semblance of dignity. From the moment I appeared at the reunion, Victoria Bellwether's gaze never left me. I nodded politely. "Long time no see." Victoria Bellwether froze for a moment, her eyes unreadable. Then she sneered, "Sincere Clark, after all these years, you haven't changed. Still, lacking ambition." Ethan Goldsmith looked at me with resentment. He deliberately tightened his arm around Victoria Bellwether's waist beside him, as if declaring his ownership, and spoke gently in front of me. "Victoria, that's a bit harsh. Sincere Clark might be a bit down on his luck, but we shouldn't twist the knife. Aren't you just embarrassing him?" He looked me up and down, then tutted and shook his head. "But Sincere, you can't blame my fiancée for saying that. You're dressed so inappropriately for such an important occasion. Are you looking down on your old classmates? I have a spare suit in the trunk of my car. Want to borrow it and change?" As he finished speaking, the classmates burst into laughter. Ethan Goldsmith was dressed in a custom Armani suit, wearing an expensive mechanical watch, his every gesture highlighting his status as a successful entrepreneur. Compared to him, I was covered in charcoal dust. My hair was a mess. I had just come out of an interrogation room and hadn't slept for nearly 36 hours. I looked utterly exhausted, like a lost soul. I was wearing a casual tracksuit bought from a street stall. There was truly no comparison. "Thanks for the offer, but no need," I replied simply and sat down to eat by myself. After all, following intense criminal profiling and interrogations, I hadn't eaten for over a day. Victoria Bellwether suddenly walked over to me and, without a word, took out a bank card and held it out. "There's 20, 0 on this card. It's for you. Even if you're just drifting aimlessly, you should treat yourself better. Find a more respectable job. Buy some decent clothes. Take care of yourself. Sincere, what happened between us is in the past. Don't dwell on it. If it weren't for, never mind. It's not important anymore. The most important thing now is that you don't become a listless wreck and give up on yourself just because I left you, okay?" I looked up at Victoria Bellwether in front of me. Her unfinished sentence puzzled me. What exactly was the reason in our past life that made her choose to abandon me so resolutely after being reborn? In our previous life, we went from school uniforms to wedding vows. She had always dreamed of becoming a dancer, while I had always wanted to work in criminal investigation. Both dreams required a lot of time and money. Naturally, one of us had to make a sacrifice. And because I loved her, I unhesitatingly gave up the opportunity to study criminal profiling and psychology abroad. After graduation, I passed the civil service exam and found a stable job. I supported her dream and our home on my single income. Unfortunately, she faced repeated failures, frustrations, and setbacks on the path to her dream. And I was like her ever-ready power bank. Every time I came home tired, I had to immediately soothe her frayed emotions. I thought Victoria Bellwether would understand my love. Unexpectedly, when she sprained her ankle during training, she stubbornly wanted to take painkillers and perform. After I refused, she angrily smashed our wedding photo. "Do you know this was my last chance? I thought you would support me, but I never expected you to hold me back all this time." "Fine. Now I don't have to dance anymore. All my efforts have been wasted. Do you know, if I had listened to Ethan Goldsmith back then and gone to the United States with him to study design, I wouldn't be here living this hard life with you. I truly regret being with you." Later, Victoria Bellwether really did stop dancing. She lost her dream. And because of what she said when she was angry, I truly regret being with you. I often cried myself to sleep at night. To save my marriage, I made a final attempt, holding her and saying softly, "Victoria, let's have a child. Let's live an ordinary life, okay?" She pushed me away, an indescribable disgust in her eyes. "How can we have children when we're so poor? Besides, I've told you before, I hate kids. I don't want to have your children." Those words completely shattered me. On our way home, an oncoming truck ended both our lives. At that moment, I felt no fear, only relief. Now that we've both been reborn and have tacitly chosen to keep our distance, there's naturally no need to dwell on old feelings. I pushed the bank card on the table back to her. "No need. I don't accept things from strangers, thank you." Chapter 2. Victoria Bellwether frowned and questioned, "Sincere Clark, what do you mean by that? Are we strangers?" I replied, "I can buy my own clothes." Whatever my job is now, I find it perfectly respectable. If you have spare money, you can give it to people who actually need it." She clutched the bank card tightly, biting her lip, standing rooted to the spot. Ethan Goldsmith walked over to Victoria Bellwether's side, glanced down at the bank card, and understood everything in an instant. His eyes flashed with anger, yet he feigned generosity. "Sincere Clark, since you don't want our kind offer, let us give you something more substantial. I recently opened a sports car repair center. You could work there as an apprentice mechanic. The starting salary isn't high, but after deductions for insurance and Social Security, you'd still take home a few thousand a month. The main thing is you'd learn auto repair skills. In the future, even if you hit rock bottom, you could still earn money fixing cars. How about it? Interested in trying? This job should be better than what you're doing now." I calmly ate my food and shook my head, declining his kind offer. "Thank you for always thinking of me, but I'm very satisfied with my current job and have no plans to change it right now." Some envious classmates around couldn't help but make snide remarks. "Sincere Clark, stop pretending Victoria and her fiancé are kind-hearted, offering you money and a job. You should hurry up and accept." "Exactly, you came to the class reunion dressed so shabbily. Wasn't it to make your old classmates pity you and offer you better resources? Now you're getting all proud?" Ethan Goldsmith said hypocritically, "Everyone, don't say that. We're all old classmates. Maybe he genuinely likes his current low-paying, tiring job." He looked at me. "Sincere Clark, I know you're jealous of me, but this is truly a kind offer. We're offering it to you out of old friendship. Don't let your pride make you miss this chance to turn your life around." I really didn't understand this behavior of offering financial help via a bank card and then forcefully pushing a job on me. If we were really comparing capabilities and assets, everyone here combined wouldn't have as much as me. "Really, no need, thank you." Ethan Goldsmith still maintained a very dignified smile, but his eyes were full of mockery and disdain. Victoria Bellwether clenched the bank card, seeming to laugh out of anger. "You really are a hopeless case. You won't even take the opportunity right in front of you. Just stay poor for the rest of your life." As she finished, many classmates started making sarcastic comments. A heavy-set woman, Bertha Big B Hogg, even tried to force alcohol on me. "Sincere, you're doing so poorly now. I feel so sorry for you. How about you drink with me? For every glass, I'll give you 100. If you spend the night with me, there's even more money." Bertha's eyes showed she was determined to get what she wanted. The surrounding classmates laughed and jeered. "Bertha, you're a married woman. So what a little fling between old classmates." I frowned in discomfort. This reunion was vastly different from what I had imagined. If I weren't waiting for someone, I would have stormed out long ago. I was just about to call security when Victoria Bellwether, from the side, suddenly grabbed Bertha's hair. Her eyes were icy, filled with anger. "This is a class reunion. Behave yourself." Bertha's hair was pulled painfully, and she screamed inelegantly. Ethan Goldsmith grabbed Victoria Bellwether's wrist. "Victoria, do you know what you're doing?" She ignored Ethan Goldsmith's tone and said coldly, "I'm standing up for what's right. This is a class reunion, not a nightclub, and certainly not a place for you to act sleazy." After speaking, she pushed Bertha away. The woman, having suffered a silent defeat, didn't dare to shout at them but shot me a vicious glare. I looked at Victoria Bellwether in surprise. I never expected she would step in to help me. Ethan Goldsmith's face turned pale with anger. He was grinding his teeth, but he smiled and changed the subject. "I heard that Ms. Astor, the triple award-winning actress, and her daughter are filming a promotional video upstairs. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll run into them." Hearing this, the classmates immediately got excited. Actress Astor isn't just a triple award winner. She's also the only daughter of a city's wealthiest man. She swept all sorts of entertainment awards right after her debut. She's secretly married at 30 and has a 5-year-old child. I wonder which young master managed to marry my goddess. The goddess's husband seems to be a genius criminal profiler. He's solved many major cases, received national commendations multiple times, and many dignitaries want to connect with him. Since his wife and daughter are here, he should come to pick them up. We're so lucky today. Definitely posting this on TikTok. Soon, a group of bodyguards with a photography team escorted a little princess into the banquet hall. The already buzzing crowd became even more excited. Wow, that must be my goddess's daughter. She's so cute, just like a Barbie doll, adorable. Bertha Hogg, who had just been harassing me, saw this scene and continued to mock me sarcastically. Sincere Clark, if it weren't for Ethan Goldsmith, an overworked drudge like you would never get to see high society figures. If you have any gratitude, you should go kneel and apologize to young Master Goldsmith right now. Maybe you'll not only get a good job but also win the favor of a well-to-do lady like me who earns a solid few thousand a month. Psycho. I ignored her, calmly looking in the little princess's direction. Everyone rushed forward with fawning expressions, madly taking photos and videos of the little princess with their phones. Even Ethan Goldsmith, who had been so aloof at first, approached the little princess with a friendly, almost sycophantic expression. "Little girl, you're so cute. My company designs princess dresses. Would you like to be our little model?" As he spoke, he reached out to pinch the little princess's tender cheek. Shockingly, the little princess, surrounded by bodyguards, completely ignored the adults around her and walked straight towards me. With a sweet smile, she threw herself into my arms. "Daddy, you're finally here." Chapter 3. The little princess, who had a cool and aloof expression initially, reddened around the eyes and looked aggrieved upon seeing me. "Daddy, why didn't you come home yesterday? Sweetie missed you so much." Seeing my adorable daughter run over, I immediately scooped her into my arms and comforted her softly. "Daddy was helping the uncles catch bad guys. Didn't Daddy tell you before he left yesterday? My little princess, Daddy has the day off tomorrow. How about I take you out to play?" My precious girl, as delicate as a doll, nodded quickly. "Daddy, you're the best. I love you the most." The classmates present were all stunned by this scene, looking at me with incredulous eyes. Just as they were about to speak, an elegant and beautiful woman, wearing high heels, slowly descended the spiral staircase. That woman was the triple award-winning actress, currently the actress with the highest commercial value, Serafina Astor. "Honey, the hotel manager told me you were at a class reunion here today. You just came from several meetings, big and small, and didn't tell me first. I could have sent someone to pick you up." The hotel manager, standing nearby, introduced to all the stunned onlookers. "This is Miss Astor, also the only daughter of our Grand Astor Hotel's President Astor. This gentleman, Mr. Clark, is our president's son-in-law. If any of you have any requests during your meal, please don't hesitate to let us know. We will certainly do our best to accommodate Mr. Clark's old classmates and fulfill our duties as hosts. All expenses for the classmates today will be covered." At this moment, the classmates had varied expressions. Those who were just watching the drama were incredibly excited. As for those who had been fawning over the powerful and kicking those who were down, their faces were now deathly pale, terrified that I would use my influence to retaliate against them at any moment. A few guys who had been on pretty good terms with me in high school couldn't help but speak up. "Sincere Clark, you're really something. Your wife is actually my goddess. My heart is broken. So you're the goddess Serafina Astor's rarely seen criminal expert husband. I never thought you'd do so well, man. Not only successful in your career, but also wealthy. I never realized you were the real nobleman here." Faced with the classmates' chatter, I could only respond with a smile. Serafina Astor, standing beside me, paid no attention to others' gazes. Instead, she looked me up and down and hugged me with a look of concern. "Look at you. You haven't even wiped off the charcoal dust. You must be exhausted. Go home later, take a hot bath, and get some good rest." I nodded and said, "Okay." Then, This elegant and aloof woman completely ignored Ethan Goldsmith, who was trying to approach and talk to her. Her gaze fell directly on Victoria Bellwether, who stood by somewhat at a loss, and she spoke with a slightly contemptuous tone. "You must be my husband's high school ex, right? Thank you for dumping him back then. If you hadn't made that choice, how could I have met such a wonderful and handsome husband?" Facing Serafina Astor's sarcasm, Victoria Bellwether completely ignored it. Instead, she looked at me with a complicated expression. There was a hint of breakdown in her eyes as she questioned me, somewhat inelegantly. "Sincere Clark, is this your way of retaliating against me, of punishing me for leaving you? How much money did you actually spend to hire such a big actress to be your wife?" I put down my daughter, who was in my arms, and took Serafina Astor's hand. "Let me properly introduce everyone. This is my wife, Serafina Astor, and this is my daughter, Joyce Clark." Victoria Bellwether's expression went from initial disbelief to shock, then to a deathly pallor, and finally to a dead silence as she recognized the truth. Perhaps my former self would have felt pained by this woman's every action, but Victoria Bellwether was right. The past is past. What happened between us was in a previous life. Why bother dwelling on it? I now have a new love, an adorable little princess, and the job I always dreamed of. In this life, I have the happy marriage and family I could never have had in my past life. No matter how I look at it, I shouldn't be nostalgic for the past. Ethan Goldsmith was originally the one who organized this class reunion, but after everyone learned my true identity, the way everyone looked at me changed. From fawning over Ethan Goldsmith before, to now showering me with concern and attention. It all happened in just a few short minutes. I never would have guessed Sincere Clark is now the son-in-law of a city's wealthiest man. Just now, Victoria Bellwether tried to fob him off with a 20-0 bank card. Thinking about it now, it's just too ridiculous. Yeah, she thought her ex was doing poorly, but who knew Sincere Clark would turn around and find a huge star, a true heiress at that. Didn't Ethan Goldsmith also want to introduce Sincere Clark to a car repair job? I heard Sincere Clark is a criminal profiling expert hired by a national agency. Foreign countries once offered him a multi-million-dollar annual salary and couldn't recruit him. Yet Ethan Goldsmith wanted to get him a job? That's hilarious. Sincere Clark, you actually got married secretly without telling us old classmates. You should have let us know. We would have given you a big wedding gift. From now on, you're our connection in the entertainment industry. Watching these old classmates, who had initially ignored me, now fawning over me one by one, I found it utterly ridiculous. But I still engaged in light pleasantries, maintaining basic decorum. The fake reunion wasn't over yet, but I had long lost interest. Soon, my wife Serafina Astor and I, holding our daughter Joyce, turned and left. Just as we walked out of the hotel's main entrance, Sincere Clark, Victoria Bellwether ran out and called after me. I asked my wife to take our daughter to the car and wait for me. After all, in early February, the evenings were still quite cold. My wife, Serafina Astor, said nothing, just nodded silently. As always, she respected me and trusted me, giving me enough space. Victoria Bellwether looked at me with eyes full of complexity and incomprehension. How could you possibly marry Serafina Astor? There was nothing to hide about this matter. As a popular actress, Serafina Astor inevitably had some extreme fans and stalkers. When she received gifts of dead mice, she unhesitatingly reported it to the police. And I happened to be the detective handling that case. At that time, I had just started my job and was full of enthusiasm for all my work. To understand the details of the case thoroughly, Serafina Astor and I contacted each other more and more. That's how we met. She admired my dedication to all cases, big or small. Her passion was clear to me, and she, in turn, acknowledged my dedication to my dreams. My first impression of this enthusiastic girl was very positive. So, Serafina Astor, known as the unattainable beauty of the entertainment circle, took the initiative to pursue me. The day Serafina Astor first confessed her feelings to me, I asked her a few questions. As an actress, you always have to maintain your figure. Do you want children in the future? Yes, I want children. Although acting is my dream, my bigger dream is to have a happy family of 3. A woman can still pursue her acting dreams after pregnancy and childbirth. I paused, then continued. You know my work involves criminal investigation. I might often have to work overtime, and the job can be very dangerous. Will you support me? She nodded with sincere eyes. The reason I like you is because you shine in your career. I'm willing to support you in everything you want to do. Last question. Will you regret it? She smiled. I, Serafina Astor, never regret. From that day on, we started dating. I wanted to give her and myself a chance to start over. As we navigated our relationship, our feelings for each other deepened, and we naturally fell in love and got married. The wedding was very low-key. We simply registered our marriage and invited close relatives and friends. After listening to my story, Victoria Bellwether's eyes unknowingly reddened. Is that little girl really your child? But in our past life, you clearly said you only wanted to have children with me. Why are you having children with another woman now? I was left somewhat speechless by what this woman in front of me was saying, and could only use her own words to remind her. Victoria Bellwether, the past is past. Can we please not dwell on it? Words spoken in a past life don't necessarily hold true in this one, do they? When we tacitly broke up, it was for the best that our past selves, and indeed our present selves, have no overlap, isn't it? Besides, in our past life, you regretted being with me. You disliked children, and you didn't want to have mine. And I couldn't accept a life like that. Victoria Bellwether roared in anger. I regretted it not because I didn't love you, but because you never supported my dream of dancing. You cut the ribbons of my dance shoes, causing me to sprain my ankle during practice and lose my only chance. After hearing this, my face was full of confusion. Do you know what you're saying? I don't understand at all. I never touched your dance shoes to support your dancing dream. I took the civil service exam and chose a stable job. I even took on extra work after hours, drawing designs and writing copy, working multiple jobs a day. When would I have time for such pointless things? I wanted you to succeed more than anyone. Otherwise, why would I have given up my own dream? Haven't you felt any of these sacrifices I made for you? When these words came out, Victoria Bellwether's expression was as if she'd been struck by lightning. She stood rooted to the spot. She looked as if she had suffered a massive blow. Victoria Bellwether involuntarily covered her mouth, questioning me as if she couldn't accept this reality. Then why, when I wanted to take painkillers to continue competing, did you refuse me outright without even asking? I now somewhat understood what her unfinished sentence at the class reunion meant. Do you know what the doctor told me? If you didn't rest properly and continued to dance, your leg would be ruined. You'd have difficulty even walking in the future, let alone dancing. I couldn't possibly watch you destroy your own dream. It was just one competition. You would have had other competitions in the future. As long as I was there, I would have always supported you. That's why I refused you directly. Hearing this answer, Victoria Bellwether fell into complete despair. She muttered to herself, "Impossible. Ethan Goldsmith told me back then that you broke my dance shoes, deliberately causing my foot injury because you didn't want to see me succeed, afraid I'd abandon you after becoming successful. He even said you wanted to have children with me, to tie me to you completely. If the events of my past life had made me feel disappointed and pained, then at this moment, I truly felt utter despair regarding my feelings from that past life. We were together for so many years, and a casual remark from someone else could negate all my sacrifices. Victoria Bellwether, don't you find that ridiculous?" I sighed deeply. "My wife and daughter are still waiting for me in the car. I'm leaving." Victoria Bellwether anxiously asked from behind me. Sincere Clark, do you still love me? I shook my head firmly. The love from my past life was let go long ago. Now, I only love my wife and daughter. I didn't understand the point of her asking such a question. After all, she had been the one saying all along that there was no need to dwell on people and events from the past. And now, I was the one who had actually done it. I had truly let go. Chapter 4. Unexpectedly, just over a month passed. Ethan Goldsmith's father, Marcus Goldsmith, was exposed for corporate tax evasion, using substandard materials in baby products, falsifying data, bribing local officials, and other crimes. Once exposed, it immediately made newspaper headlines. When I learned about this, I too was very shocked. Ethan Goldsmith, the once arrogant and wealthy young master, appeared so dejected in front of the cameras. All of the Goldsmith family's assets were seized by the court. His father, due to various crimes, would likely spend the rest of his life in prison. The real victims were the infants and young children who had used their products, many suffering from allergic rashes and swelling, with some even developing infections. Upon hearing this news, I couldn't help but say angrily, "This is too much. People who make baby products, to be so black-hearted." Serafina Astor patted my back and gently suggested, "The group is thinking of setting up a foundation recently. Why don't we use that money to help these infected children?" Honey, you're the best. The Astor Corporation had always adhered to the principle of making products with the best cost-performance ratio. All products under its name used the best materials and designs, yet were sold at very low prices. Although the profit wasn't large, it built up the company's reputation. This was also the main reason why the Astor Corporation could grow bigger and bigger in the country and earn consumer trust. Before long, I received a call on my mobile phone from an unknown number. After hesitating for a moment, I answered it. Victoria Bellwether's voice came from the other end. "Did you see the news?" I was the one who reported everything about the Goldsmith family. I frowned, not understanding why she was telling me this. "Then you've truly done a public service by eliminating a menace." Victoria Bellwether's voice on the other end was very weak. "Sincere, I want to see you one last time. Can I?" I responded seriously. "I've told you before, I've already let go. There's no need for us to." Before I could finish, I was interrupted by her coughing. "Cough, cough." Victoria Bellwether gave a bitter laugh and continued, "I've been diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. I've given up on treatment. I just want to see you one last time." Hearing this news, something in my mind seemed to snap suddenly. We were silent for a long time. Only then did I speak, my voice hoarse. "All right." In the afternoon, I arrived at the school field where we had agreed to meet. Victoria Bellwether walked towards me, wearing a pure white wedding dress. She looked like she had lost a lot of weight. Looking at her, I frowned deeply. "You're sick. Why aren't you in the hospital receiving treatment? Why ask to meet me at the school field?" Victoria Bellwether's eyes were red-rimmed, and she looked at me hesitantly. "I want to dance one last dance for you, the one I choreographed for you back then." I directly interrupted her self-indulgent display. "No need. If a dance is meant to have meaning, then that dance has completely lost its meaning. Because there's nothing between us anymore." "You're lying," she roared at me, her eyes red. "Sincere Clark, you were willing to come here today, so you must still have me in your heart, otherwise you wouldn't have come. I know I misunderstood you in our past life. It was all my fault. You were so good to me in our past life, and yet I treated you that way. I deserve all of this, but I really know I was wrong now. I truly regret it. Sincere Clark, can you forgive me? In the little time I have left, can we get back together again, please? We can have our own children. Didn't you always want to have children with me, have a family of 3, and live an ordinary life?" I just frowned at the woman in front of me. "Victoria Bellwether, I hope you understand. We completely broke up the moment we were reborn. Now I have a new family, a wife and child I love. I hope you won't say such things anymore." Victoria Bellwether shook her head in disbelief. "You definitely still have feelings for me. How could so many years of affection just disappear like that? You're just angry with me right now. I know I went too far, but can you stop being angry? I really know I was wrong, and I've admitted my mistake." A cold sneer appeared on my lips as I shook off Victoria Bellwether's hand. "Just because you admit you're wrong, I have to forgive you? I admit I am concerned about your health, and that's because we do share many years of history, but it's no longer love. If my actions have led you to misunderstand, I am truly sorry. I will contact your parents and ask them to come take care of you soon. Also, marrying you in my past life is what I regret most. Giving up my dreams for you is also what I regret most. I don't love you anymore, and I certainly don't want to have children with you. I hope you don't live in the past, because that past is somewhere I don't want to return to." After I said this, Victoria Bellwether collapsed to the ground in agony. I didn't linger. After calling her parents, I turned and left. But she screamed heart-wrenchingly behind me, "All women in the world are the same. Do you think Serafina Astor truly loves you? Why would a big entertainment star like her fall for an ordinary guy like you? Wake up, will you? You two can't possibly be happy together. We are the ones who are most suited for each other." Hearing these words, I walked away even faster. Everyone thought I was marrying up when I married Serafina Astor. But I felt that in this love, we were equals. Victoria Bellwether only saw me as an ordinary criminal detective, unaware of the outstanding contributions I had made to the nation's criminal investigation field. Serafina Astor, however, was more willing to understand me, support my work, and appreciate my achievements. Because of my wife, I understood what true love is. Love isn't one party taking and the other giving. It's two equals striving towards their dreams together, side by side, supporting each other. It's even more impossible for me to doubt our relationship because of her couple of instigating remarks. Having experienced that failed relationship before, I cherish this hard-won love even more. The next time I heard news of Victoria Bellwether, it was from her mother, who called me. "Victoria is gone. Thank you for your previous care." I was silent for a long time. Then I replied in a hoarse voice, "Auntie, my condolences. I didn't know what I was feeling then. Perhaps it was sadness, perhaps regret, but mostly it was a sense of wistful melancholy. It was like losing an old friend. A part deep inside my heart suddenly felt empty. The feeling was faint, hard to describe. Soon, I pulled myself together, continued to work hard, and cherished everything I now had even more. Regarding my research on criminal psychology, the country secured a spot for me in a study exchange program. The chief directly recommended me for it. After I arrived in the United States, I discovered my wife and daughter were already waiting for me at the airport. My two princesses, one big and one small, ran straight towards me, and my eyes were filled with surprise. Serafina Astor threw herself into my arms. "How about it, honey? You came here to study, and your wife and daughter are here to accompany you. Aren't you happy? Aren't you surprised?" I smiled and nodded. Of course, I'm especially happy and surprised. During the study exchange period, our family of three also visited many famous attractions in the United States. We traveled to many different places, big and small, creating many wonderful memories together. Looking at the two figures, one big and one small, in the distance, I faced the morning sun, a bright smile on my face, and chased after them. After all, they were my future.